Okay, good morning, everyone. So let's begin with today's lecture. We will be doing more examples of the concepts which we introduced in previous lecture, basis and dimension. Okay, so before beginning with the question, let me give you a result which will be useful to us. So that result says if U and V, sorry, you can say the notation W. If U and W are two subspaces of vector space V, then dimension of U is less than equals to dimension of V, and dimension of W is less than equals to dimension of V. So the subspace is always going to have dimension less than the vector space, less than equals to. It cannot have dimension more than the dimension of vector space. So that is one result. And another result is that U intersection W is also a subspace of V. So that means intersection of two subspaces of a vector space is also a subspace, and same result can be generalized to finitely many. Intersection of finitely many subspaces is also a subspace. This is this may not be true for unions, that U union with W may not be a subspace, right? So that may happen, but right now we are just going to use these one, intersection one and the dimension one. So obviously, since dimension of since U intersection W is also a subspace, so its dimension is also going to be less than the dimension of V, because it is a subspace of V. Now let us do one question in which we are supposed to find basis and dimension. Now, what were the kind of questions we discussed in the previous class? So the questions we discussed in the previous lecture, there I told you that you will be given the vector space and you will need to find whether a particular given set is basis or not. So when we are given a vector space V and dimension of V is n is known to us, like say it is one of the standard vector spaces, like we have v3, we have v4, so we know their dimensions, right? It is three dimensional, it is four dimensional. The set of polynomials we know is n plus one dimensional. So when dimension is known to us and we are given a set whether it is a basis or not, then we already discussed how to do that. Okay, so I will recall you what was that. That if the given set B contains more than or less than n elements, what is n? N is the dimension of vector space. Then we will say B cannot be a basis, because the definition of dimension is the number of elements in the basis. So if it is not matching, so we will say it cannot be a basis. And if B contains exactly n elements, then what we will do, then B is going to a basis if B is linearly independent, otherwise not. So when the number matches with the dimension, so directly we cannot say it is a basis, we have to then check this condition that the set should be linearly independent. Okay, so that's all the summary which we have done so far. So now we are moving towards a different kind of question. So in this kind of question, we are supposed to find a dimension. We will be given vector spaces whose dimensions are not known to us. So we will be needing to find the basis as well as dimension of these. So this is going to be the statement of the question. Find basis and dimension of U, W, U intersection W, where U and W are subspaces of V4, right? And defined by, so you are given certain vector spaces. So U and W are vector spaces, but they actually happen to be subspaces of V4. So although we know the dimension of V4, which is 4, but we do not know the dimension of their subspace, because I told you this result in the beginning, that dimension of the subspace is going to be less than dimension of the vector space. So it can be anything less than 4. It can be equals to 4 also. So we need to find that. Now, what particular U is given to you in this question? A, B, C, D, B plus C plus D is 0. Obviously, these A, B, C, D are real numbers. And similarly, W is given to you A, B, C, D. A plus B is 0. C is equal to 2 times D. So you can see U and W both are subsets of vector space V, because they are containing 4 tuples. They are subspaces of V4. So in this question, we don't need to check or prove that they are subspaces, because this is already given to us. All what we need to do is find the basis and dimension. So let's see how we do this particular kind of question. So we need to find basis and dimension of U, W, as well as U intersection W. So let's see how to do this particular kind of question. So look at this very carefully. So firstly, we are going to look at U. So you see this additional condition is given to you. So you can understand it by taking the example of R2. Just like R2 is a whole vector space, two-dimensional plane we have. In this case, x-axis is acting as a one of its subspaces. Means if you take the second coordinate 0, means all the points of this form a comma 0, if you take a belongs to R, then this is a subspace of R2, right? So geometrically this is having this kind of representation. So here also, so that means some additional condition is given to you, that if the second point becomes 0, the second coordinate becomes 0, then it becomes a subset and happens to be a subspace whenever the properties of subspace are satisfied. So that is why in subspace some additional condition will always be given to you. So this is the condition B plus C plus D is 0, and we have to make use of this condition only to find the dimension as well as the basis. Okay, so let's do how we proceed. So you start with the definition. Now you write this condition, and from this condition you try to find one variable in terms of other. This can be more than one condition also, as we will see in case of W, but whatever is given here, what you have to do is, if you can try finding the parameters value, these are your parameters, right? A, B, C, D, these variables, if you can find in terms of other, then that is what you have to do. Like here it is my choice. I can find B in terms of C and D. So B will be minus C minus D, or I can write C is minus B minus D, or I can write D is minus B minus C. So clearly, because there are three constants and one equation, so we cannot find their explicit values. It will be like one will be expressed in the terms of other two. So here you are free to choose whichever you express in the terms of other two. So I am choosing this one. B is minus C minus D. There is nothing more I can do with this single condition, right? I do not have any additional information. So whatever I have got, I will substitute that in this point. So the point A, B, C, D will look like A. Now for B, I have to substitute minus C minus D. Okay, in place of B, I am substituting its value, and C will remain C and D will remain D. So that is what you have to do. Whichever you have evaluated, just substitute in that and you get your expression like this. Now from here you will have the idea. Now you count the number of variables. Now you count the number of arbitrary constants or variables, parameters you can say. So there are three now, A, C, D. Earlier there were four, A, B, C, D, but because one of them has been found in terms of other, because one condition was given, so we are left with only now three parameters. So what you have to do, you try to find basis from here. So again, I will give you an example. just like in yesterday's question we did, right? Any point xyz can be written like x time 1 0 0, y time 0 1 0, z time 0 0 1, and then since these are linearly independent, this happens to be the standard basis of R3. So for this point also we will try to find this kind of representation so that we get this kind of vectors which will test for the basis, because we are looking for basis now. Okay, we want to construct that basis. Okay, so what you can do is it this should be done because there are three parameters, so there will be three elements coming: a times something, c times something, and d times something, because this whole as a vector can be generated from this. So all what you need to know is what to write here. So obviously it's going to be a 4 tuple because the vector is going to be from the same space v4. So I will be writing 1 0 0 0, because you see a is appearing only in the first coordinate. In second coordinate there is no a, in third coordinate there is no a, and in fourth coordinate there is no a. So a is only appearing in first one, so at first place I have kept 1, rest all 0, so multiplied with a. So similarly for C, in first place, in first coordinate, there is no term of C, so it is 0. In second term, it is -1. You look at the coefficient of C, this is -1, so this is -1. In third, it is +1. C is just appearing, so +1. In fourth, there is no C in fourth coordinate, so this is 0. Similarly for D, what it is going to be? 0, -1, 0, and +1. So we got this representation. Yes, anybody has any doubt in this? Because this is the only thing which you have to learn in these kind of questions. Okay, rest all is going to be same in every question. This is something you need to practice, that given a point in this form, you should be able to write it like this. We are trying to identify the vectors uh, which are free from scalars. So the scalars will come outside. You count the scalars. There were three, A, C, D. So that means three vectors will be coming. So you just need to write it in this form. I hope this is clear. We'll do more examples. We will do more examples for the same, then it will be better clear. The important point is you should know that we are looking for basis. So we are looking for this kind of representation, that some vectors should be there whose scalar multiples and the linear combination will generate a general element of my space u, right? So this is a general element of u because I have substituted b is equal to -a minus d. So this is it is. So that means if I form this set containing these three vectors, this one, and this one. If anybody has doubt that from here to here, how did we come? What you can do is to do it back calculation, right? Again, you try to go from here to here, you will reach at the same point. The first will be a 0 0 0, then will be 0 minus c. So you multiply with scalars and then add, you will get back the same point. So that way you will be learning how to do this. Yes, so now I'm claiming that this set containing these three vectors 1 0 0 0 0 minus 1 1 0 0 minus 1 0 1, that this is actually basis, because this condition is telling me that this set is spanning the vector space u. It's a spanning, right? Because every vector of u has been written like linear combination of these three vectors. So this set is already a spanning set. All what I need to confirm is that if these three vectors are linearly independent, then this will be basis. So you see in this kind of questions, because I do not know the dimension, so I cannot go by dimension way. I have to first find this expression, then choose these vectors, and it's clearly satisfied already the condition of spanning. So I will now check that this B is linearly independent or not. So these three vectors which you have chosen, if they are alike, so done, this set we will declare as a basis, and the dimension will be counting these many elements. So I'm leaving this to you, that you try this yourself, that this B is linearly independent. It's very easy to show, very easy to show. It will be linearly independent. Okay, ये prove हो जाएगा. You know already how to prove Li. Therefore, this set B which I have mentioned is the basis of vector space U. And so what is the dimension of U? 3, because there are 3 elements in the basis set, right? So this is the first part done for you. Then we will do the similar thing for W. Okay, so let's do the same calculation for the second subspace which is given to us, W. So in W, you see carefully, two conditions are given to us. A plus B is 0 and C is 2D. So it doesn't matter, howsoever the number of conditions given to us, we will proceed in a similar way all the time. So look at it very carefully again. W is A, B, C, D. So this time we are given conditions, two conditions. A plus B is 0 and C is 2D. Right? So from this condition, what I'll get? A is minus B. Again, it is your choice. You can write B as minus A. Yeah, one more thing about the previous example, that here I gave you a choice that either you can find B in terms of C and D, or you can find C in terms of B and D, or D in terms of B and C. This is completely your choice. What difference it will make? It will give you a different basis. The basis elements will be different, because we saw in the previous lecture that basis may not be unique. So depending upon your choice, you may get a different set, but that is also going to be basis. The dimension is going to remain same. It's not like with that you will get two basis elements. You will still get three basis elements. There will be some different vectors, but that will be still spanning as well as the linearly independent set. So you can try doing with those cases and see what different bases you can get. But the process remains the same. Okay. Coming back to this, so A is minus B and C is 2D. So I could express A in terms of my B, and C is already expressed in terms of D. So my A, B, C, D is, I'm writing A is minus B. Nothing for B. B is just B. Now do not do this mistake, write B as minus A. We are trying to reduce the variables. We are trying to reduce the number of constants. So if one is expressed in terms of other, keep the other same. A is minus B, so B remains B. C is 2D, so D remains D. Okay, do not substitute D is C by 2. You will not reach anywhere. Okay, so I have got these two parameters now. The whole four coordinates are expressed in terms of just two variables, B and D. So there should be B and there should be something D. So you have to figure out what it is. It is easy, as I've just explained to you. The first coordinate, it is the coefficient of B is -1. The second coordinate, the coefficient of B is +1. Here there is no B term. There is no B term, means the coefficient of B is 0. Similarly, for D, it is 0, 0, 2, 1, because it is 2D, and in the last it is just D. So I have got these two vectors. So let me denote this set by B1 -1, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2, 1. So this is the spanning set. This B1 is spanning W as a vector space. So I need to check whether B1 is Li or not. So one more point for two vectors. Whenever you will be having two vectors, you can see these are just two elements. So checking Li, Ld becomes very easy, right? I am giving you this result. Any two vectors, V1 and V2, are linearly dependent if and only if one is a scalar multiple of other. Both are non-zero. Obviously, we are talking about non-zero vectors. If two non-zero vectors are there and you want to know they are linearly dependent or independent, so they will be dependent if one is scalar multiple of other. This concept is similar to what we taught you for differential equation solution. So here it's easy. So you see this 0, 0, 2, 1 is not a scalar multiple of -1, 1, 0, 0. So they are clearly linearly independent. However, if you don't want to remember this result, you just go by the definition of Li. Alpha times plus beta times, you put that 0, 0, 0, 0, you will get alpha 0, beta 0. is the only solution. So therefore Li. So that means this B1 is acting as basis of W. So if B1 is basis of W, what is dimension of W? Is 2, because you count the number of elements in B1, they are 2. So we got the answer for U. We found the basis and dimension of U. We found the basis and dimension of W. Now we have to find the basis and dimension of U intersection W. So for doing this, firstly, I have to construct this set, because individually I know U. So intersection means and. Everybody knows intersection means and. If something has to belong to intersection, it means it has to satisfy the condition of U as well as it has to satisfy the condition of W at the same time. So the both the conditions of U and W will be written here. So U had this condition and W had these conditions. So all the conditions collectively will be written here, because intersection means and, it does not mean or. So the same process, from here I get B is minus C minus D, from here I get A is minus B, and from here I get C is 2D. Now if you look at this and this again, so I can get A also in terms of C and D. So A I get C plus D, because A is minus B and B is further in terms of C and D. So I get A also in terms of C and D. And now you look at this one. C is purely in terms of D. So I can use this here and I can use this here. So B is minus 2D minus D. So this gives me minus 3D, and A is plus 3D. So ultimately A is in terms of D, B is in terms of D, C is also in terms of D, and D is obviously D. So this vector A, B, C, D is, A is 3D, B is minus 3D, C is 2D, and D is just D. So it is, if you take D outside, so 3 minus 3, 2, 1. So this is the single element. So the first case we were getting 3 elements. In the second case we got 2 elements. Here we are getting just a single element. So this is a non-zero element generating this space. So B3, if I take this single element, so this is obviously spanning U intersection W, because every element of U intersection W is a linear combination of these. Now, what do you mean by linear combination of a single element? It's just a scalar multiple only, because there is no other element to add or subtract, okay? So linear combination of one single element is always just the scalar multiple of that. That is why it is turning out to be D times this. So this is spanning, and yes, is this is Li or not? Is a singleton set is Li or not? So for that also I'm going to tell you a result, a shortcut. You can use the definition again, but for a single set, again, it is very easy to see. For a singleton set, that means the set containing only element. So a set containing only one element, say V, is linearly independent if and only if V is non-zero. So if that is a non-zero vector, every element can be generated from that. So that is going to be linearly independent. So that means if I give you a set which contains only 0 elements, 0, 0, 0, 0, that is going to be LD. Otherwise, it is going to be linearly independent. So these are the extreme cases which I'm telling you, but here you will always get something like that. So yes, B3 is Li, therefore B3 is basis of U intersection W. And what is dimension of U intersection W? This is turning out to be just 1, because I can see just one element here, right? So that was one single question. You will find similar questions in the tube sheet also, as well as in the book also, in which you are given different subspaces. You have to find bases and dimensions in this way. Yes. Fine. So this is about this question. Let's move ahead towards the next question. The statement is still the same. We have to find basis and dimension, but this time I'm choosing an example of polynomials. Right? So this time my u is given to be p belongs to p5, p double dash is 0. So your vector space is p5. It contains the polynomials of degree less than equals to 5. So now u is a subspace of V, right? This is given to you in the question that this is a subspace of P5. So now which particular polynomials it is containing? So this P is actually denoting a polynomial. Actually, they should be very precisely writing as Px because that's how we look at a polynomial. It should be better written like this. So Px is a polynomial coming from P5 whose second derivative is 0. So this is a very important condition. So the subspace always comes with a set defining condition. So P double dash is 0. So let's use this condition. So for that, how does your Px look like? You have to consider one of its form. So we know that how does a 5-degree polynomial looks like. A5 x5, A4 x4. Okay, that's how a 5-degree polynomial is going to look like. Now we have to impose this condition and try to get information out of this condition, that what happens with this additional condition. So for that I need to find p double dash. So p dash is 5a5x4, 4a4x cube, 3a3x square, 2a2x plus a1. And what is second derivative, second order derivative? 20a5x cube, 12a4x square, 6a3x plus 2a2, right? So you have to put p double dash x is equal to 0. Now here there will be two kind of questions. This condition can be given in two ways. Like in this question, it is given to you p double dash x is 0. That is, the second derivative is 0 for all x. But in the second kind of question, you might be given a particular point that the second derivative is becoming 0 at a particular point, or a second derivative is becoming 0 at a particular point. So they may not give you the point, but they may define it arbitrarily. But if they write the condition in this form, that means the derivative is not absolutely 0, it's becoming 0 at specific point. So then the question will be done in a different way. I will do after this question, we will do this question. But in this question, we are given this condition because you see what was written in the set defining property. This was written that p double dash is 0. So means without any condition on x, it is becoming 0. So that means it says for all values of x, it is 0. So now putting p double dash is 0. Yes. What does it mean? What do you mean by a polynomial becoming 0? Zero polynomial, it is basically a zero polynomial, right? So zero polynomial means its all coefficients should be 0. So that means a2 is a3 is a4 is a5 has to be 0. Its coefficients are 0. That's what the meaning of a zero polynomial is. So this condition we got. So right. So we were given p double dash is 0. So using that, we were supposed to find some expression. So this is a simplified expression we got. We got all these coefficients 0. So that means only a0 and a1 remain, because no condition has been coming on a0 and a1. So they can have any value. Rest 2, 3, 4, 5, those are 0. So therefore, Px belonging to this vector space U implies what kind of it is? It is a0 plus a1x, only linear or constant polynomial, because a1 0 भी हो सकता है, वो that's an additional thing, but it can be non-zero also. So only linear or constant polynomials are there in the subspace U. Okay, so this is the element of U. Now you tell me what is going to be the basis of it. So you look at how many coefficients are there. Two coefficients. So its basis will contain two elements. So it is a0 into 1 plus a1 into x. So here you do not please treat x as a variable. X is an indeterminate because that is used to write the polynomial. It's a part of the polynomial. We are only focusing on the scalars. Just like in previous examples, I told you that look at how many a, b, c, d are remaining, and that will be the number of elements required in the basis. So you can see two constants here, two scalars here, a naught and a1. So I will be writing it like a naught into 1 plus a1 into x. So this set B containing 1 and x, this I am claiming to be basis of U, because this is in general. I told you, remember yesterday, that Pn, for the vector space Pn, what is the basis of vector space Pn? 1x x square up to x raised to power n. So if it is linear, so that means the degree is 1 maximum. So the dimension is going to be 2. There will be two terms coming in the basis, right? 1 and x. So what is dimension of U? That is 2. Means it's easy. If you want to further check that they are linearly independent or not, it is easy, it is trivial, because it's looking like a standard basis. So you don't even need to show that, but it's very easy to check that B is Li, because alpha into 1 plus beta into x is 0 into 1 plus 0 into x. It's a zero polynomial. It clearly will give you alpha 0 and beta 0. So this is the case when p double dash was 0, and we got this as the answer. So now let's do a similar question. Uh, just the way I told you that there will be two kind of questions here in this case. In one case, we have already done. The second case, the derivative is becoming 0 at a particular point. Okay, let's do that example. So you will clearly see the difference. So I am given W, Px, P dash, X naught is 0. So it is this time given to me a subspace of P2. Okay, this is not just a symbol of subset, but I'm just skipping writing detailed statement. This will be given to you that this is a subspace of P2. So this time we have single derivative given to be 0, but look at the bracket. It is becoming 0 at a specific point, right? If they would have written P dash X is 0, so that means for all X it is becoming 0. But if they are writing some X naught, so that means this X naught is some fixed point. Although we do not know the value, but it is some fixed point, right? So let's see how to do in this case. So I have to suppose Px to be of a second degree polynomial, because your vector space is a P2. So let it be a naught plus a1x plus a2 x square. I need to find P dash, because the condition is given to me in terms of P dash. P dash will be a1 plus 2a2x. So now you put this condition that P dash is becoming 0 at a particular point x naught. So in place of x, you put x naught. So in your tute sheet, you will find the question, you are given the value of x naught is equal to 1. So what you have to do here, you just put that value is equal to x naught is equal to 1 here. Okay. So every question of that kind will be covered in this category. That is why I have taken a general point x naught. You might be given a numerical value of x naught. Okay, so what I can find from this condition? So again, it will be your choice. One variable can be found in terms of other. So A1 I am finding in terms of A2. X naught is fixed. Do not think that X naught is coming as an arbitrary variable. X naught is just a number. You treat it just like a number. So I've expressed A1 in terms of A2. That's it. No additional condition was given to me. So this is the only condition given to me, and I am able to find this. So you go back into your expression of Px. So this belongs to W, implies I will be using this condition now. So A1 I can substitute as minus 2 times A2 x naught into x. This x will be still there. I have just substituted for A1 and no substitution for A2. A2 remains A2. So you see, out of the original 3 variables, I am able to write it in terms of 2 constants. One of them is A0, one of them is A2. So you write it like this. Okay. So the number of arbitrary variables, the coefficients have reduced because one of them has been expressed in terms of other. Yes, so what should I write here? A naught into 1, because a naught is not getting multiplied with anything. And for a2, I will be writing x square minus 2 x naught into x. Remember, this is a very important step in this kind of question. Do not think that there are three terms, 1x and x square. They will be present there, but you have to write it in this particular form, just like we did in the previous question. So in this case, if I define this set as say B4, 1, what elements it contains? This one and this one. X square minus 2x naught into x. So this is my basis of W. So the dimension of W is 2, because there are two elements here, right? And what you left is to show that B4 is linearly independent. Again, you can show alpha times 1. This is equal to 0. I'm just showing you Li. So if you show Li, so you'll straightforward get again 0 into 1 plus 0 into x plus 0 into x square, because this side you have a quadratic polynomial. So you'll straight away get alpha 0, and automatically you will get beta 0 also. It's easy to see. So yes, this is the basis, therefore dimension is this. So this kind of question in which you are supposed to find basis and dimension are to be covered like this. So this particular question I have taken from tube sheet, but it has additional parts also. And then you are supposed to find for intersection also. So you try those questions and that will cover this whole category. Okay. Yes. Any doubt in these kind of questions? Yes, Uday.
वैसे पिछले क्वेश्चन में हमने a2 इक्वल टू a3 इक्वल टू a4 इक्वल टू a5 इक्वल टू 0 कैसा लिखा था?
Let me see. Where is that question? Okay, t double dash 0. Because it was given to you that tx is a polynomial, is a 5-degree polynomial, because basically you are in the space C5 whose second derivative is 0. So if I ask you what are those polynomials whose second derivative is becoming 0, so you will say linear, because after linear you do the second order derivative, it start becoming 0. So we actually mathematically shown it, although we already know the answer. You computed p dash, and since p dash p double dash is becoming 0 for all x, they didn't give you any condition that when it is becoming 0. So if some polynomial is becoming 0 for all values of x, so that means it is a 0 polynomial only, right? Any
Yes, ma'am.
polynomial cannot have infinitely many roots. If it is becoming 0 at infinitely many points, so that means it has to be a 0 polynomial only. So 0 polynomial means its all terms are 0, the coefficient. So a2 0, a3 0, a4 0, a5 0. Because there is no way in a5 suppose is non-zero, but 20 times a5 becomes 0, right? So that's not possible. So the only possibility is these has to be 0. So we got this information. So whenever you will get some information from the set defining property, then you go back to the original term and use that condition there. So once I substituted there, I just got a0 plus a1x. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, Vidushi.
I mean, this one, how we are finding dimension, we are not using formula n plus 1 for polynomial.
No, we used that formula n plus 1.
So, ma'am, like how it is 2, it won't be 3. Like it contains x square also in last example.
Where?
I mean, last.
Okay, last example. No. Boy, that's what I said. Don't look at it from the इसको वैसे मत कंपेयर करो जो हम पॉलिनोमियल से करते हैं कि इसमें एक्स स्क्वायर भी है. इसको आपको क्योंकि इन पैरामीटर्स के टर्म्स में देखना है that how many scalars you need for generating the combination. So I need a0 and a2. Just see a0 and a2. जब हम वो स्टैंडर्ड बेसिस पे लिखते हैं ना, जब हम लिखते हैं a0 प्लस a1x प्लस a2x स्क्वायर, तो हम सीधा बेसिस लिख देते हैं 1x एक्स स्क्वायर. वो इसीलिए लिखते हैं क्योंकि ये तीन अलग अलग कांस्टेंट होते हैं. अगर मैं ये लिख दूं a0 प्लस a0x प्लस a2x स्क्वायर, सपोज ये आ जाए किसी केस पे, तो आप ए नॉट कॉमन लोगे, इसको लिखोगे 1 + x + x²। फिर बेसिस में दो ही एलिमेंट्स होंगे, एक पॉलिनोमियल होगी 1 + x और एक पॉलिनोमियल होगी x²।
ठीक है।
क्योंकि ये हमेशा ही उसका सेम ही आ रहा है ना, तो 1 अकेले की जरूरत ही नहीं पड़ेगी, 1 + x एज अ सिंगल एलिमेंट आ जाएगा। सो यू सी द डिफरेंस बिटवीन दीज टू केसेस। तो यहाँ
Yes.
पे भी वही हो रहा है, A2 ये सेम हो गया, इसलिए उसको कॉमन लेना ही पड़ेगा, वट एवर कम्स इनसाइड, डजंट मैटर, सेकंड डिग्री, थर्ड डिग्री, वट एवर। तो
Okay,
आपको
ma'am.
राइट इसको काउंट करना है।
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right, so that's done for today. हमारा भी टॉपिक तो रहता है, बट आई एम नॉट गोइंग टू स्टार्ट दैट बिकॉज वो बिल्कुल डिफरेंट है। व्हाट वी कैन डू, अच्छा चलो एक और क्वेश्चन कर लेते हैं, फिर वो ट्यूट शीट का ही क्वेश्चन है, इसी से रिलेटेड है, वो आपका कवर हो जाएगा। लेट मी वेरी क्विकली डू दैट। So you are given x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. x1 plus x2 plus x3 is 0. This is one condition. 3x1 minus x4 plus 7x5 is 0. This is second condition. And you are given vector space V5. So from here, I will be finding x1 in terms of x2 and x3. And from second, I can find x1 is x4 minus 7x5 by 3. Then I can equate these two because x1 is same. So when I'll be equating these two, see, because why I'm doing so, because in this case, if you choose x4 to find in terms of x1 and x5, and then again x1 is further in terms of x2 and x3, so that way also you can do. And similarly, you start from x5. So this is what clicked to me and I'm getting at an answer. So there are many ways to always deal with those conditions. Okay. So I will equate these two because both of these are values of x1. So I'll get x4 minus 3x2 minus 3x3 plus 7 times x5, right? So what will be this element? So x1 will be minus x2 minus x3, x2, x3 remain same, x4 is in terms of x2, x3 and x5. So minus 3x2 minus 3x3 plus 7x5 and x5 remains x5. So you are able to eliminate uh, two of them. X1 and X4 you are able to eliminate, but you are retaining 2, 3 and 5. So I'll be having X2 times something, X3 times something and X5 times something. So again, I'm telling you, you will be having choice. You can eliminate some other two also. Your basis will be different in that case, but the dimension is going to be same. Yeah, so this is the answer. Minus 1, 1, 0, minus 3, 0, minus 1, 0, 1, minus 3, 0, 0, 0, 0, 7, comma 1. So these three you can check. If you put these three into a set, that will be Li, and so dimension of this subspace is going to be 3. Right, so that was a similar question. So I have tried to cover almost all kind of questions because in your tutorials you won't be having time to solve the questions yourself. So that's why I have almost covered the tutorial sheet. So we are left with just one last lecture, that is tomorrow is our lecture. So possibly हमारा कल एक लेक्चर में फिनिश हो जाएगा, नहीं हुआ तो हाफ एन आवर की हमें क्लास एक्स्ट्रा लेनी पड़ेगी. I will see that, but I'll try to finish tomorrow. Right, so that's the last lecture, that's supposed to be the last lecture tomorrow. Right, so I'm stopping. Thank you.